Well, hello there, friendos. How are we doing today? Hopefully, you're doing very well. This is Cornelina. Well, Cornelia, I guess. Cornelia. Cornelia. We'll say Cornelia. I know. Uh, she is a bright wizard, and part of the reason for that today is that I'm going to be talking to you guys about the colleges of magic in Outdoor for the Warhammer Empire Fantasy Man People B. And I'm gonna kind of go back and forth between talking about them and just playing the game a little bit as per usual. And this is a quote here. After speaking with him for nearly a day and a night, I choose to travel with him across the world to his great city of Altdorf, to this very college to beseech the brethren magisters of the Golden Order for the opportunity to prove myself worthy of being accepted as an apprentice of their college. And now, some 40 cold winters later, I am here to teach you the facts and practices that you will have to accept and adhere to if you wish to survive with sanity and soul intact as long as eh, I'm sorry, as long as I thrive as magister in service of this different nation's great and noble emperor and avoid the fires of Sigmar's Templars. I do not anticipate that many of you will succeed. And this is Haika Hak Ika al Hikman, Arabian Magister Lord of the Golden Order. So, one of the things that's very interesting to me about magic in Warhammer Fantasy is that it's incredibly dangerous, and that's actually part of the reason that I think it's very neat. And it's not just dangerous because you could accidentally misuse it and hurt somebody or anything like that. No, 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 no. It's dangerous because magic in and of itself is this kind of unstable force that can lead you. Oh, why did I get so close just to throw a fireball in this guy's face? Oh well, I killed him. It's fine. No, you can hit me a couple times. Oh, by the way, don't you like her hair? Isn't it very pretty? This hair color is called sherbet, apparently, and I rather like her hair. I think it looks pretty neat. Oh, she looks so angry. But magic is this kind of like inherently kind of deadly thing that can cause people to lose their minds and go insano dad if they're not careful. If they're not careful, they'll go true insano dad in insano dad fashion. And next thing you know, they're going to have all kinds of issues and things preventing them, or like they can mutate, they can turn into monsters, they can also just straight up explode. Like one of the funny things about playing Warhammer Fantasy at the tabletop game is that there's like a possibility that your wizards, even like the more skilled and trained ones, can just explode. Isn't it fun? But that's part of the reason that the colleges of magic exist. You see, they're trying to train people so that they don't explode and so that they can actually, live a life that's useful to the Empire rather than just running around and blowing things up and, generally being more of a nuisance than anything. And that's part of the reason. Ooh, now I have gloves. Excellent. They're nice looking gloves too. So they can actually have an existence that is like, useful to the Empire and not just, oh great, yet another random weirdo who's just running around casting fireballs and getting people dead and things just because that's just what we need. We always need more people running around being fire lords. But uh that's part of the reason that the colleges of magic exist, and I think they're very interesting institutions because the people of the empire are like inherently kind of mistrust. They mistrust magic users, and they think that they're generally kind of bad people, and a lot of people think that they're kind of like gonna. I just want to see if I could get some more out of that. They're generally gonna try and let's go warrior priest. They're generally gonna try and be like evil, and the empire is a very superstitious place, so they're kind of like always on the lookout for people doing the wrong thing, and they're like always watching wizards and thinking, "Oh, is that wizard gonna cause a blizzard?" And usually the wizards aren't gonna cause a blizzard. Usually the wizards are gonna cause a large explosion of horrible chaotic energy that mutates people. But it's fine. It's fine. Oh, you can't dodge that. You didn't even see it coming. How did you not? Oh, you dodgy bitch. But yeah, it's like some of the things that I find personally rather interesting about like magic within this setting. And like you do need institutions to kind of like help people understand and keep their magic under control. I'll read a little bit here. Colleges of Magic, also called Imperial Colleges of Magic and Orders of Magic, are important and powerful imperial institutions of magical learning and practices that are located in the city of Altdorf. They have the legal responsibility to train and police all individuals who are capable of channeling the winds of magic so that they best serve the interests of the Empire. The colleges of magic are places of learning as well as inherently political institutions. They each possess physical buildings that are inhabited by a collection of non magic using servants, apprentices, and magisters. The title given in the magister is the title given to a wizard who is a full member of a college and therefore licensed to practice and teach magic in the Empire. The colleges of magic have centralized buildings in Altdorf that allow the Emperor to contract each college's governing magister or patriarch, or at least the senior members of each of the orders of magic when he needs to. The orders of magic include magical lores, personalities, philosophies, ideas, rituals, traditions, and goals that each of the colleges impart to their apprentices. The personalities part is one I find funny here, is because I was like, oh man, I ace magic class, but I don't ace personality class. I'm a fire wizard, but I'm apparently acting way too much like a light wizard. Man, I'm gonna fail. I'm gonna fail this shit. Don't dodge it. Okay, good. It is kind of funny to imagine just like walking around and just occasionally setting one of these guys on fire. Stop. They're not supposed to dodge. I don't know why they're being allowed to do that. It's very rude on their part. They're supposed to just accept fire. The northern host comes for me and then it falls down. But that. Oh, the orders of magic are also far-reaching, highly secretive societies with distinct identities and agendas. Imperial magisters claim that the essence of their orders are not found in the buildings or dusty tomes, but in the actual pursuit, manipulation, and embodiment of the winds of magic that lie at the heart of their orders' lores. With these mighty human wizards within its military ranks, the Empire can face and defeat the greatest and most destructive forces that would dare to assail its borders, be they mortal or supernatural. Man, yeah, no, it's I think it's really cool to have these wizards, like, because like I said, people are kind of like mistrusting of these wizards. They think, oh man, you're gonna blow me up or do something stupid with your wizard powers, and I'm just like sitting here going, hey man, I'm only doing that to chaos worshippers. You a chaos worshiper? Because if you're a chaos worshiper, I'll set you on fire. I'll set your testicles on fire. Then what will you do? You'll be like, moldy coin purse. Interesting. Yeah, interesting. The life of Sigma. Sigmar was also a man who liked smashing orcs and wizards and things, but we live in these modern times, and we all know that Sigmar loves a wizard if they fight for the Empire, if they fight for the Empire and do their part and, set the right things on fire and not the wrong things on fire. Because if you set the wrong things on fire, then you're no longer for hire. Then the witch hunters will come after you and kill you. I like how I did this out of words. Now I gotta go back up there to finish the quest, but it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, so the wizards, the orders of magic, basically go around and they're trying to make sure that not only, oh, because I already found it, can I now just talk to him instead of, no, I had to find it again? Find the life of Sigmar. Oh, okay, no, I had to click off of it first, because otherwise it doesn't count, I guess, I don't know. But yeah, they're always trying to make sure that people don't um, abuse the powers, and also they're kind of trying to keep the public, like, not horribly afraid of every single wizard and trying to go out and kill them, like trying to convince them that they're useful and things like that. Which I mean, look at me. How could I not be useful? There's a little bit about the history. The founding of the colleges of magic began with one particular individual, High Elf Lore Master Teclis of Ulthuan, one of the most powerful magic users the mortal world has ever known. Facing an imminent and massive assault by the forces of chaos, and with the permission of the future Emperor Magnus the Pious and the grudging support of his subordinates in the early years of the 24th century IC Imperial calendar, Teclis and his brother mages offered amnesty to human hedge wizards and petty magic users that existed in the Empire at the time. They also proceeded to seek out as many more potential wizards among the general population as possible. Word was sent by galloping outriders to every part of the empire they could reach, offering a full pardon for illegal practices of magic and training to any and all who knew or suspect they had any affinity or ability with magic. Some experienced strange dreams, compulsions to journey to Outdoor as if some force compelled them. There, they submitted themselves to Teclis' judgment and training and agreed to fight in the coming war against chaos. They were guaranteed protection from harm by any of the Empire's other powers or agents. They would be under Teclis' personal protection, the protection of the great uniter Magnus of Nuln. By the way, Magnus the Pious, true baller. True ball lord of Magnuses. I have High Elven Mage's incredible skill and profound sensitivity to the movements of the Aether enable them to sense even the smallest conjurations of the weakest human spellcasters for leagues around them, thus allowing them to find potential magic users by themselves. Using their arcane knowledge, the elves could traverse the lands of the Empire with supernatural speed and uncover many of the primitive or misguided magic users who were forced to live in secrecy by those who feared their abilities. Yet, there were others who made their way to Talheim of their own accord, handing themselves over to Magnify's authority in desperate hope of acceptance. With barely a pause, Teclis and his two... one second. Stop beeping. Silly thing. With barely a pause, Teclis and his two high elven companions eradicated any witches and warlocks corrupted by the exposure of chaos beyond any hope of redemption. Teclis left alone the priests and clerics of the Empire's cult, despite sensing a great aptitude for arcane magic, and many, the holy men and women of the Empire, were adamant that they had no power or wish to manipulate magic, insisting any miracles their prayers might bring came directly from the deity they worshipped. If it is said Teclis' allies were amused by this self-righteous claims, as they knew all magic ultimately came from the same power source, no matter the method of how it was channeled. With Teclis merely nodded and allowed the issue to drop, the priests he had approached could already work magic with faith and rituals without learning the arcane spellcraft that Teclis offered. This is kind of interesting because this would imply that warrior priests and others who can use magic are actually just or who can use like miracles and things like that are actually just using magic, and that the gods are not involved. I would argue that that's actually kind of an interesting, probably not actually 100% true, because we know that the gods get involved in like little things here and there, and I mean, they certainly get involved in some mortals' lives and things like that. The idea that the power couldn't at all come from the divine is, I think, a little silly. And he saw no reason to inject doubt into the hearts of the Empire man. And then after all this, they fought and they helped fight in the War of Chaos, and they did a lot of things to help destroy chaos and things like that. And then, following the Empire's victory in the final battle of the Great War of Chaos at the very gates of Kislev, the power of chaos gradually ebbed away. Demons began to melt back into the realm of chaos, held along by vicious spells casted them by Teclis and his human students. Once the darkness had withdrawn from the land once more, the Kislev city of Prague was leveled and rebuilt, though ever afterwards it remained a haunted city where the dead are said to rest uneasy in their graves. So it was the new breed of magisters were hailed as saviors of the empire alongside Magnus the Pious himself. For his part, Magnus was elected emperor, and under him the imperial provinces were united under one rule for the first time in centuries. If the elector counts of the time had any doubts about installing the dark-eyed minor noble, and former seminarian to the imperial throne due to his support for magic use, they kept their thoughts to themselves. The people of the empire had chosen their leader and would not be denied. And then after this, they found the colleges, and each of them is kind of their own interesting thing. They take a lot of place in. They do a lot for the empire at large, often coming in to save them over and over again. Not to mention they have a better understanding of the forces of chaos in a lot of cases, and despite witch hunters searching for like basically unlicensed magic users so that they can, you know, do horrible, mean things to them, which I would prefer they not do because that's rude and stuff. But for the most part, wizards are now like an accepted part of they're now like an accepted part of the empire, and I think that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And I was going to go into a little bit of how they govern themselves, but they mostly kind of govern themselves in the ways you would expect. They kind of watch out over each other and make sure nobody's doing any horrible chaos things and stuff like that. They recruit, mostly by kind of wandering around, seeing people and like sending them to college or, checking them out. Some people take on personal apprentices and things like that. And then I'm going to go just a little bit further in. The colleges of magic have the ability to appear exactly how they want to, and they appear different to different people. Those wizards wish to impress such as potential those the wizards wish to impress, such as potential benefactors, may be greeted by a wondrous display of magic. Those they wish to intimidate may have to trudge through gloomy corridors before reaching their destination. And this is kind of talking about how each college kind of has its own different set out and layout. Like for instance, the College of Shadows is like this very hidden building that's kind of difficult to get in and out of unless you know all the arcane secrets in the way. Or like the Bright College that's like what this lady here is a part of has like a lot of fire and big spooky scary things. And we'll talk a little bit about the different orders of um, magic here because I find this part very interesting. High Elf Archmage Teclis thought that however dangerous it is, magic can be controlled and purified by a trained practitioner. Men learned how the raw power of magic blew into the mortal world in the form of the eight winds of magic, which represented unique types of magical energy. For each wind, Teclis founded a separate college and order of magic, and he and his brother Mage taught the first magisters and college patricians. Or, I'm sorry, patricians, patriarchs. The wise lore master saw that the minds of men were unable to control the power of more than one wind of magic with any degree of safety, even with the most careful study. Thus, today there are 8 imperial colleges of magic, which form the headquarters of one of the orders of magic, in which new magisters are trained in. The political relationships between the colleges vary from cordial to rivalrous. Generally, orders near each other in temperament and lore on the wheel of magic tend to have friendlier relationships, while orders on the opposite ends tend to oppose each other. Thus, the Jade Order may be on friendly terms with the Amber Brotherhood, while at the same time opposing the Bright Order. In some cases, such as the infamous Night of 1,000 Arcane Duels, the friction between colleges is spilled into outright violence. So there's these 8 lores. There's a Light Order, the magical order of Hierophants dedicated to wielding the white magic of Haish, and practice the lore of light. The lore of light is also kind of interesting because it's basically like anti-chaos magic in a way. The celestial order, the magical order of astromancers dedicated to wielding the blue wind of magic, Azir, and practicing the lore of the heavens. The gold order, or golden order, the magical order of alchemists dedicated to wielding the yellow wind of magic, Shaman, and practicing the lore of metal. The Jade Order, the magical order of druids dedicated to wielding green wind of magic, Gyran, and practicing the lore of life. Amber Order, the magical order of shamans dedicated to wielding the brown wind of magic, Gur, and practicing the lore of beast. Bright Order, the magical order of pyromancers dedicated to wielding the red wind of magic, Akshi, and practicing the lore of fire. The Grey Order, the magical order of shadowmancers dedicated to wielding the grey winds of magic, Olgu, and practicing the lore of shadow. And the Amethyst Order, the magical order of spiriters dedicated to wielding the purple winds of magic, Shaiish, and practicing the lore of death. And the kind of interesting thing there is, I'm sure each of you who are familiar with Age of Sigmar would notice that each of those winds of magic is, of course, the same winds of magic that turned into the 8 realms in Age of Sigmar. Why is this not? It does not want to shoot at that one for some reason. Interesting. Shot that one. That one on the right there. That one just gets to stay there, I guess. Cuthbert. Saucy Cuthbert. Okay. And here's the religious outlook. Although religious beliefs vary from order to order and wizard to wizard, all imperial masters tend to take a more practical and less superstitious view of the divine, probably because of the early influences of Teclis and his brother Mages had on the collegiate belief systems, the college's belief system. All magisters are aware of the existence of many gods and demons, wholesome and otherwise, and do not underestimate the enormous power and influence these entities have over the mortal world. However, although they are careful not to offend these gods and demons, and even make offerings to them as and when it is deemed necessary and appropriate, as with the Amethyst Order and more, the magisters tend not to directly worship or offer their personal devotion and dedication to any of these gods. And it is a fine line between making respectful observances to the gods and actually worshiping them, as a priest or another devoted citizen might, but it is one of the imperial magisters walk. In times of need, some of the empire's cults have approached the various orders in an entirely unofficial way to request aid and to request aid. This has resulted in some tentative relations between cults and the orders of magic. And here just goes over some of the orders they have in contact. The Light Order maintains some links to the cult of Shalia, particularly when it comes to dealing with demonic possession and matters of demonology. And Shalia, if you don't know, she's like the goddess of healing in the Empire. The Celestial Order. Rumors of Varanan scholars consulting the celestial astronomers have been denied or confirmed. Likewise, those who worship more in his aspect as the god of dreams have been known to turn to the Celestial Order. The Gold Order. The Gold Order has made overtures towards dwarf runesmiths and priests with little success, as the Dawi are jealous guardians of their secrets. The Altdorf press has insinuated some links between the Gold Order and the Randalian tricksters in recent scandal involving vanishing gold, but this is unlikely to be true. The Jade Order maintains close links with the cult of Tal and Raya, as well as certain rural Shalian cults. Those who follow the god of the sea Manan often find themselves oddly at peace whilst around Jade wizards, but this has never been formalized in any type of compact between the order and the cult of Manan. Manan is the sea deity, and Tal and Raya are kind of like the older, more primitive gods of nature in the Empire. Amber, the Amber Order, maintains occasional links to the cult of Tal and, to a lesser extent, Raya. The Amber Wizards will stir themselves to aid the wild places and often find common cause with these cults as a common goal. Bright Order, while it often provides battle wizards to the Imperial military forces, this has curried little favor the Bright Order among the Empire's faiths, even with the cult of Sigmar. The Pyromancer's relation with the clergy of Manan are positively awful, as it has been claimed that the patriarch of the Bright Order referred to the Sea Lord as a watery, damp squib of a little god. The Grey Order. The Grey Order has no known ties to any religious cult. The Amethyst Order. The Amethyst Order relationship with the cult of Moor is very strong, as one would expect. Recruitment. Okay. There's no written license that sanctioned imperial magistrates must carry on their person. The fact that they have been accepted into the Order of Magic and trained by them is enough to satisfy the legal demands of the Articles of Imperial Magic. There are various signifying tattoos, brands, emblems, and items that apprentices and magistrates of an order must wear or carry to signify their membership of the college to their college and order, as this is proof enough for secular and religious authorities of all major imperial cities and towns, though villages and rural areas are unlikely to recognize the marks, emblems, and items. With the colleges of magic being mostly self-policed and self-supported, it is in their best interest to keep track of all their members and make sure they stay loyal, stay in contact, and send funds 10% of all earnings unless they are Lord Magister every year to the closest body owned or by the representing order. These funds go into maintenance of colleges' buildings, the upkeep and training of apprentices who are based at the college instead of with a magistrate living elsewhere, and they fund the order's other unpaid duties and goals across the empire. Overall, a member of any of the 8 orders of magic must keep his order informed of where they are going and what they are doing. If a magistrate enters a town or a city where there is a guild or chapter house belonging to their order, or even just another magistrate, or is considered good practice and a mark of due respect to make oneself known. There are some mystical ways that each college can keep track of the movements of their members, but how this is done is a secret, unknown to outsiders. So yeah, there is some more stuff I could go over here, but I think that's kind of a lot of the more interesting stuff. They have these 8 orders. They each kind of have their own different institutions and understandings of like how they're supposed to well behave, and they all have their own little rules and internally police themselves, but and mostly kind of they mingle among the empire. It is kind of funny to me that no one's really super big friends with the cult of Sigmar, because the cult of Sigmar is like probably one of the most anti-magic of all the cults, and that is the cult where they the witch the witch hunters come from. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that the colleges of magic are really these neat institutions. I have to admit, I wish in this game I could play something other than a bright wizard. I kind of wish I could play a what would you call it? A shadow wizard or maybe like a jade wizard. I think those are two of my favorites. I really like celestial wizards on like the battlefield. I think they're very fun. But you know, I'll take being a bright wizard and running around and causing fires and things and burning my enemies. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little bit of me babbling through a bunch of lore. You can find some more stuff online. There is honestly kind of a lot um, of stuff here. I had like 22 pages of notes and I read over it and I kind of picked out the parts that I thought were most interesting among all the different parts. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed it and I hope you all have a wonderful, blessed day. And I hope that, you know, wherever you go, God watches over you, and Shalia watches over you, and Sigmar watches over you, and everybody gives you a hug. Okay? Love ya. Goodbye. Bye, bye, bye. God bless. Bye.